Hello and good evening and welcome to ErfDragon Art. Today we're going to be discussing whether ErfDragon is the new Banksy. If he is, let me know in the comments below. If you don't think he is, also let me know in the comments below. But do enjoy this video as we go and review and discuss whether this man is the new Banksy. Obviously I'm not Banksy, he's a completely different type of artist. Everything else, it's just a little bit of fun. I do hope you all forgive the clickbaity title, but it was just a bit of fun, and I've been wanting to sort of post this video for a while. I know I've not been on my channel for a while, and I just thought I'd start off by sharing a video I recorded a couple of years back that was a bit of fun and learning a new software that I'd not come across before until this event. In 2019, Samsung decided to open up an experience store in King's Cross, often referred to as SamsungKX. Its purpose was to get people excited about the new devices and new technologies as they're coming available. It had its own little repair centre. They had other events there. People come and do different events, different social events, talks, discussions, art galleries and the works. And a lot of the time the technology was brand new, not even out on the market yet. But the biggest thing that caught my eye was at the end of the building there was this giant video screen, and on that video screen it had a graffiti wall where you could go and basically use your phone or use a phone as a spray can, which I thought was a bit of fun. So as this video unfolds, I'm going to be jumping in, making little comments and talk about some of the challenges I faced using this particular software. So when you first come in, the biggest thing to do is to set up your little spray can. The guy was just testing it on the wall to make sure it was actually working correctly, because sometimes it has to recalibrate, and in this particular instance they had to reset the whole screen, which does happen from time to time. Still relatively new technology, still a little buggy in places. So you'd have this artificial spray can with your phone device fitted into it, so you can literally spray anything on the wall. For me, being an artist, I always like to draw something, and it found it very, very difficult to do it. And so every time I would go in there, I would go in there and try and draw better, get more skillful at it, and over time, and just constantly improving. Haven't been there as often as I have been, but hopefully this year, as things start to open up again, I'll start doing stuff like that, and who knows, I might do another video like this. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos like this. It wasn't the easiest. It looks simpler than it is. It's easy to spray on the wall, but to actually do something cleanly and clearly and expertly was massively challenging. Even more so than probably using a real spray can, as hopefully you'll see. One of the things that's good about this particular screen is they had two different versions. They had the one with the train and then the one with like a brick wall with a garage door on it, which is the one you're seeing now. So it's two different surfaces for people to actually spray on. My favourite was the garage because you had nice clear space, and you can put like this one here, and basically you've got all that free space, all that free reign to actually just draw to your heart's content. The train one, however, because of the gaps in the train for the different carriages, when you are spraying, it would actually recognise you're going over those gaps, so it won't spray in the gaps, which is important to know. One of the biggest challenges I faced was not seeing where the spray can is spraying. If you're using a paintbrush or a pen or a pencil, you can usually see where you're putting the brush, where you're putting the pencil tip. And even with spray cans, although they're still got their challenges, you can at least see where the spray is, so you can kind of gauge it a bit easier. So it's a lot easier to know if you're getting the size of your area that you're painting. This was a virtual painting software, and as you can see, there was nothing to indicate where I was painting, other than like a tiny little floating dot on the wall, which was very faint, wasn't clear to see, so it was very hard to kind of see where I was going. The other challenge I had was, because you're doing it electronically, it's a lot harder to kind of get a nice straight even line, because your body tends to normally naturally have a shaking movement, so you can't, even if you're trying to be really careful, you can't always get that completely straight line. Later down the line, one of the things I learned to do was to hold the can twice, so I'm using two hands to do it, but that's not very comfortable to do, to be fair. It's better to do it with one hand and get on with it. However, with each effort I got better and better, and as you can see I'm doing a certain Marvel character. Now with this guy that's spraying next to me, one of the other challenges I had was while I was doing this, people kept on encroaching in my area, and on a few occasions while I'm in the middle of drawing something, they start drawing over my picture while I'm in mid-flow, which I found quite frustrating. Sometimes it's just, it's obviously a public space. Lucky enough, nothing happened on this particular picture, but I know on other ones, just as I'm about to save it, someone's sprayed something over the top of it. That's what you get when you're in the public space. This is another challenge I had. If you notice on the eyes, it's starting to drip a little bit as well. So that was another thing that was a bit of a challenge. I mean, obviously it's trying to get that realism of it being a spray can and you get the drips and stuff like that. But again, there was no control over it. Even with a spray can, although it happens, there is a certain level of control. If you know what you're doing, you can spray just enough that that won't happen, or a bit more if you want it to happen. With this device, it just puts it in anyway. That's the one sometimes downside of doing electronic stuff. It's trying to imitate something in real life, so it doesn't know when not to do it, if that makes sense. Which brings me to another challenge I had. With the way the colours work, you have like a little dial with little dots of all the different colours on it, which you can do, but if you're in the middle of spraying it, it's very easy to hit one of the other buttons, and next minute you're using red, for example, and then the next minute yellow suddenly appears up because one of your fingers has hit the yellow, so it really spoils your drawing as well. So that's another little challenge. You can't lock in the colour that you're doing without knocking one of the other colours. So here you can see I'm drawing the sword, or should I say the katana. As you can see, it's a really cool little board, the tunnel. Now, in case you're wondering, because obviously you can get people coming in and trying to draw things that are inappropriate in a public area. There were staff there always monitoring it all the time, and they have a means that if someone was to start drawing something or say write into words that is inappropriate, they have a means to kind of delete it as they're doing it. So there was that what's the word? There was that option available. As you can see here, these guys are dangerously close to my picture on here, encroaching the space a little bit, but they didn't go over, so it was alright. But you can see here, on this bit, where the guy has literally gone over my drawing. So I finished with my Deadpool, so now I'm going to be doing another picture. See if anyone can figure out what this is going to be before I finish the picture. So I wonder how many people get it before we get to the big reveal, which you will eventually figure out. What happened here was I realised that I had my camera so far away from the actual image that I was recording or drawing, I had to quickly move my camera over to the right part, so I had to quickly do that. There's the old barista. You might notice on the beginning of the video that the footage is slightly reversed. I was using the selfie camera rather than the back camera, which is a bit of a foolish thing to do because it meant everything was reversed. And iMovie, which is what we're editing this on, does not allow you to flip the picture in that way, unfortunately. I don't know if you spotted, but that garage door started to open up a little bit. Apparently there is a spot near where I was standing here where if you spray that specific spot, the garage door will open up completely, and there's like a whole another room inside there, which is quite cool. But I wasn't really there to do that, so I didn't focus on it too much. In this particular character I was drawing, this is actually my third attempt at drawing him on this. and as I said before, it's not easy to draw there. But yeah, but this character, I drew him about 3 times, and each time they looked pretty terrible. The last one wasn't perfect, this one wasn't perfect, but considering the technology I was working with, which was awkward to use, and the fact that I've practiced this, I've done this a couple of times, I think this is the best version of the 3. If I ever get a chance to go back there and it's there, I'm going to try and do an even better version of it again. There you see the garage opening up. This I'm just spraying over the little button that's next to it. One of the things I've tried to do with this is adding different shades, again to try and add a bit more depth to the actual picture. Again, it's very difficult with using a really heavy spray can. And to be honest, after a fashion, the spray can actually got quite uncomfortable in your hands. It might have been easier just to use your phone, but you know. If you look to the right, you can see one of the staff deleting some of the stuff on the wall. So you can see that what I was saying, that how they can just remove it remotely. So at least my Deadpool's actually there now. Slowly disappearing. I'm pleased to say they were kind enough to leave the actual face there. They just took off his katana and that's it. Right, any ideas who this character is yet? Have you figured it out? It should be starting to look like the person. It doesn't look perfectly because I say it looks a bit weird, but hopefully you should start to sort of get some kind of idea, if not already figured it out. Adding some whiskers, as you can see here. That should be a fairly big clue who this guy is. And unintentionally they gave him quite a scared face. To redo the whiskers there a little bit because it looks a bit off earlier. It's really hard to get a straight line though, it really, really is. now the big reveal. If you haven't figured out who this character is, you're definitely going to know after this. And if I needed to give a clue, which I probably don't, if you get it right, Hakuna Matata to you. That's all I'm saying. I think you've all figured out that by now. It's Simba from The Lion King. I say, really not easy to do, but I say the challenges with the spray can and everything else, I'm happy with how that came out. On paper, I was able to do this guy really well, and I think if I remember rightly, I had a piece of paper somewhere of that image as I was doing it. But yeah, not an easy thing to do, but somehow I managed it. Just some final touches on this. As you can see on here, I tried to add an extra different shade around his face just to make the picture look a little bit more fuller, a little bit rounder. That's when I figured out about the, because I didn't notice the garage door at that point. I didn't know it did that. At this stage I realised.
Yeah.
And now I'm signing it. Now, point on this, my obviously channel is ErfDragon Art, but here I've signed it DG. That means Dragon Guy. And the reason why I did that is when I was going to these events, I drew this the first time I saw this screen, I drew this massive sort of Japanese or Chinese dragon on the wall. And ever since then I got referred to as the Dragon Guy. So whenever I go in there, I have a unique phrase, which is Dragon Guy. So just a bit of insight. So over to the compare, and then I'll come back and finish at the end. Okay, so we've now reviewed and looked at this guy to see whether ErfDragon Art is the new Banksy. And we finally concluded, not a blooming chance, mate. Your drawings are rubbish. Okay, back to me. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and enjoy the photographs as we finish today. Catch you later.